So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream on a Thursday afternoon, and I found this book before Christmas from, we have shops called TK Maxx in the UK. If I peel that little sticker off, I won't remember where I bought the book, but yeah, it says thelonelyplanet.com. Um, and it says it's the ultimate Travelest colouring book. 100 best places on the planet to colour. And on the back it says, bring to life the world's 100 greatest places as voted by Lonely Planet's traveller experts. From the Grand Canyon to the Alhambra, the Great Barrier Reef to the Acropolis and beyond. The incredible travel destinations in this book are yours to reimagine however you desire. Guaranteed to exercise your creativity, focus your mind and unleash your inner wanderlust. So there we go. And it was quite a chunky book as well, so I do like value for money. I like the white crisp paper, and it's quite thick. It's almost like thin card. I wouldn't class this as a paper, I would class this as thin card. It's quite good quality. So I'll do a flip through and hopefully we don't flash out too much. So it tells you how the list was created. So I don't know why I've put a sticky tab in there. Probably because this is probably I've actually, when I was at college, there was a lady that had been here, and it's a tree root. So maybe that's because I was going to do that one first. Yeah, probably. So there's the Kingdom of Angkor, Cambodia, and I think it's an old temple, and all the roots have grown, all the tree roots have kind of entombed it. So does that not flash out? Is that okay? That's probably better. And then there's the Great Barrier Reef. So you see, that would be wonderful with the Ink 10s pencils, which are sticking out here. And I keep saying I'm going to have to hide them because I can't use them. All those beautiful colours, but I'm sure I can do it in pastels. The Great Wall of China. I'm not actually going to pronounce some of these because I can't read very well. It's Machu Picchu. Oh, Machu Picchu. I'm not very good at reading. The Taj Mahal. So what I intended to do with this, the Colosseum in Italy, the Grand Canyon National Park, is Google a photograph that I liked, the skies that I liked of the actual place, and then use it for photorealism, like I'm doing in the Harry Potter one. I thought that would look quite cool. That's the Alhambra in Spain, and Iguazu Falls. It doesn't look to be very much of a falls there, it's more of a lizard. Hagia Sophia in Turkey. Is that the gold? No, that's not the gold one, is it? What's the one that's all gold? I think that's in France, isn't it? So there's lots and lots of places, lots and lots of scenery. So we've got buildings, we've got plant life, we've got animals, there's a few humans as well. There's seas, landscapes, birds. So it's actually quite a big mixture. And there's lizards. So it's a very very eclectic mix. It's not just this is a photograph like a postcard would just show that. This is the bear for the national park. The Museum of Old and New Art in Australia. So we've got lots of different, because they are actually probably the ultimate places to travel, whether there be to go see the wildlife or to go see the scenery or to go see a famous building. So I'm quite looking forward to using this book. Can everybody see the colours? Sorry, the colours, the things. Oh, he's escaped. Rat bag. Alfie's escaped. Just bear with me. See, there's faces, so and the colours and bicycles, so that it's not just buildings. Um, and again, there's I think that's is that the great is that the oh, I can't remember what it's called. My brain's gone. And it jumps about a bit. I thought it jumps about a bit because there's a Sydney Opera House somewhere in the. Again, there's bridges. So there's a very very eclectic mix of things to colour. It's not just all natural fauna and flora or paintings. So there's a Mona Lisa there. Then we go to Russia, and then we go back to France. So, I don't think you're supposed to do that in order. I want my little boy to come here. Alfie, can you come here, please? Come on. Come here. Come on. Alfie. Come on. Come here. He just looks at you and completely ignores you. Just bear with me 2 seconds. I just have to sort the monster out. Sorry about that. Even when I put my firm voice on, he went in the opposite direction and completely ignored me. And again, so we're jumping all over the with old buildings and new buildings and ruins, um, and animals. So it is a really nice book, and there's 100, so it's got quite a good page. Bit difficult getting into the centre, and actually, if you can see, it's stitched. You can actually see the stitches, so it's quite a nice book. It's been stitched. So you could actually I could actually take this to bits. I could, because that's going to be quite difficult to get in there. Because it is quite, if you can see that, it's quite a thick book, is that? So it's got 6 or 7 sleeves. And it would be easier to work if it was flat as well. So I think I might actually do that. I think I might take it to bits. And there's interiors and exteriors as well, so again, you've got your light to play with there. So it's a very very interesting book to colour, shall we say. You've got a lot of scope. So start with the easiest ones. The natural ones are probably the easiest ones, and then progress to buildings. That looks like it's an eye. Can't quite, what does it look like on there? It's definitely an eye. Yes, dear. Yes, DRD, Mum. It is. I like different books. I don't mind the same in the same books, but I have to have different books then. But of course, this is going to be really good. If you would never be bored if you only had just this one book. I think it's a dragon. I don't actually know. I can't work out what it is. Is it not a dragon? Is it a lizard? It's not a crocodile. I'm looking on the actual screen, but I can't tell what it is. It's the Australian National Parks. It's obviously got to be an Australian creature. But I just can't. I thought I knew what that was, but there's no teeth for a crocodile. So Anybody have an idea what that is? No, no, go away, please. Thank you. Go back on your sofa. You're not supposed to move. Go on. It's because it's tea time. They're a bit early for tea time. I can't see what that is. It's some kind of creature, but I'm sure that if I Google the national park, it'll tell me. So we've got Sydney House, and then we've got to Scotland, to Edinburgh Castle. And they're so thick, you think you've got 2 pages, so that's always a good sign. Ow, sorry. Iceland, so again, you've got your scenery, you've got your buildings. Yellowstone Park. I can't quite see what that is. Oh, yes. Oh, I know what it is. Yes, I can see it now. Oh, I can see it on the screen. Yes, it's a bit like one of these. It's in front of you, but you can't see it. So is that a caribou or a moose? It's a caribou. Is it a caribou? But again, you struggle to get into there. So again, I'm pretty sure I would destroy it. I hate to destroy books, but because it's stitched, it would be very easy. So again, we've got Stonehenge, and then we go back to Germany. Shh, 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 shh. And I'm sure the last time I saw this, my husband and I think it's just before we met, my husband and 5 of his friends went to Berlin on night of unification. So there were 6 Yorkshiremen, West Riding nomads, and there's some wonderful pictures of them actually standing in the wall as the holes were appearing, and they all have a bit of the wall. I don't think you can do that now, but on the night, I think anything went. Oh, is it a croc? Oh, thank you, Kerry Ann. I thought it looked like a croc, but then I was looking for the teeth. I expected to have teeth. I thought I recognised the bump on the nose. But for some reason, I can't see any teeth. Unless he's got his gob shut, which is unusual for a croc, or a crocodile, or a alligator. One of my favourite scenes from Bond, Live and Let Die. He jumps across the heads, bless them. So, where did we get to? We got to Scotland again. So I intend, as I say, to Google this particular page, and you'll find them, and you'll find the colours as well. So on a bright sunny day, the colours change. So you can pick the colours that you like, or the colours that you've got. And there's some seas to practice as well, so that would be good. This would probably take a very light, soft watercolour with a rigger. That would, as I normally do it, that would be quite good, because you could scratch some quite nice colours into there without your pencil marks, and then kind of blend them together with a damp brush, so you could get some really, if you had the ink tens or some watercolours, you get some beautiful seas. And there's the camels, so they'll be all sandy colours. Some of them I've looked and I thought, I don't like the drawings, I have to say. But hey ho, I should perhaps draw each one of my own. I'd have to draw it on a tablet though. I must admit, it's shiny paper, but it's quite nice. So yeah, again, you've got some nice sceneries. They're the giant redwoods, yeah. The giant redwoods. I think I might to do these in pastels because these are quite big spaces, so you could get some quite nice blending. And New York skyline there. It's the Metropolitan Art Museum in New York. Yes, it is, because it's the one that's in. Is it New York? Yes, because that's the thingy, isn't it? And that's the Empire State Building, I think. And there's two of those, isn't there? Is that the Chrysler? I don't know where the Chrysler building is. Maybe it's me. I get the right thing in the wrong place. Yes, Kingo. Sorry, I maybe shouldn't have done another. Again, for faces, real people, hands. This will be good. But I guess the colours will be quite unusual as well. So there's a couple of faces in here that would be quite good. And Monument Valley, so you've got all your russets and sand colours. And of course, Russian Red Square. These are all red and gold, aren't they? I think. Are they all red and gold? I'm pretty sure they are. Again, remember from a Bond movie. Bit of a Bond girl, sorry. Oh, that's what I could do. Cities in a Bond movies. Um, so you've got statues, and then we've got real people. So there's a real, as I say, eclectic mix here of sceneries and stonework and Egypt again, and then flora and fauna. So if you're good at plants, start with the plant life. I always start with greens. And then we've got an avenue view. So there we've got buildings, we've got the street, and then we've got some trees and buildings. So that's a different one again. More scenery, more streets, street scenes. The shambles at York is quite nice to draw. It's very much like Diagon Alley. Oh, excuse me. Now it tells us all about. That's a lovely thing about this book. Let me just have a mouthful of something. Sorry, silly coughs come back. Excuse me. So at the back of the book, it actually tells you all about each individual page. And actually, because it's smaller, you can actually see them slightly better. So you've got with multicoloured cliffs soaring over 300 metres. So again, I don't know why, because there isn't actually a picture of the cliffs. That's Greece, but it does tell. Oh, the ancient city of Jordan, Petra, Jordan, lay forgotten for centuries, known only to the Bedouin who made it their home until Swiss explorer Jean-Louis Burckhardt happened to be upon it in 1812. So that's quite good. It does tell you a little bit about the places, and that's probably why they've got to be very interesting and have a lot of history. Oh, this was Morocco, so again, with somebody said about faces, that would be, because I can see it better now, that one. And that's the kangaroo. So sometimes actually, because these are now small, you can actually see them. Because it's quite a big book, is this? It's the same size. Oh, it's actually slightly bigger. It's roughly the same size as the Kirby Roseanne. It's probably an inch taller and an inch narrower. So if you take the inch off the side of here and put it on the top, that's the size of this book. So it's not a tiny one. This is an A4, so we've got a little bit of an inch there. So it's a couple of inches short. So I would think that would be that's 11 and a half. So it might be 9 by 9, I think, perhaps. I haven't got a ruler handy, unfortunately. Don't have a ruler handy. But there's some really nice places. So again, because it tells you what it is, then you can actually Google it, and then obviously because they're very famous places, then you will get all the beautiful colours. So we've got a lion, cheetahs. I don't know what that is. Let me have a look. It doesn't actually tell you what that is, but it's some kind of animal, mammal. There's wild dogs or huskies for Greenland, presumably. A camel. That looks to me like a moose or a caribou. There's an alligator, crocodile, lizards. There's a couple of lizards, I think, kangaroos. Yeah, there's another lizard there. So you've got quite an array of things to draw. Sorry, do excuse me. Right. Yeah, so it's a lovely book. And then they've got statues. We've got dragons. Oh, there's zebras. I think there's people, local people. There's some trees. So there's a bit of everything. There's elephants. So there is actually, and lots of buildings, of course, because the famous landmarks, man-made. But there's a lot of unman-made, like Stonehenge is man-made. But there's cliffs and natural beauty, which I think is the one of the undersea coral places. Um, Table Mountain. So there is some gorgeous different places to do. Did anybody find if it was about? If anybody can find it. It does say at the back, so let me just have a look. So again, as I say, you've got so many different variations. So if you're not very good at buildings, but you're good at animals and trees, do an animals and trees, and then, or if you're not very good at animals and trees, do your buildings first. And then once you get used to, sorry, the headset was, once you get used to the paper, because it's quite nice paper, so it's going to, it's going to react quite nicely. And I think sometimes it takes one or two drawings to get into a book. And then you're kind of away, then you just think, oh, I know what I'm going to do. It's like having a new set of pencils. It takes you a while just to have a bit of a play. So then at the end, it says first published in March 2016 by Lonely Planet Productions. So it's in Australia, UK, USA. So it's actually a really nice big book, and it's, as I say, it's quite chunky. It's got a hundred really nice drawings. if I take a piece of photocopy paper, I can judge what size it is. So photocopy paper, so it's a couple of inches shorter than the top, so that's 11 3/4, so it's about 10 inches tall, by about 7, possibly 8, no, 8, is that 8? See, the thing is, you lose a bit of space in this corner here, look. But because it's stitched, I'm wondering whether I will struggle with it to kind of get really into this space. Especially with the double page spreads which we've got, like the, but what they've done is they've actually put those in the centre, so there's some stitches there. I don't know if you can see the stitches. Oh, thank you, Booknester. 1059. 1059 from Amazon.com. Lonely Planet Ultimate Travel Colouring Book. Thanks, book. That's £10. Not so bad for this when you think some of the others are £10. So actually, that's quite good. It's when they start getting to 15 and a bit more that gets a bit thingy. But it's nice paper. It is nice paper. But I think I might be tempted to snip, because there really is a good inch in there that you can't get to. And with my hands, it's a bit drastic. But can we see those stitches in there? So I could actually use an unpicker. I could actually use an unpicker, and it's awful when a book's been beautifully bound. But I just find I don't like creasing the pages, which we will be creasing the first pages. And I can always stitch them together when I finish. That's what I'm actually going to do. That's really naughty, isn't it? But oh, says she. Can't actually pull them apart. I can bind them back in. Is that the first page, maybe? Right. Oh, actually, what I can do, that's good. What they've done is they've made it like a proper book. So the first page, which isn't actually part of the colouring, sometimes I find this a bit easier, is to kind of push that down there like that. So we've broken that kind of first bit there. Come on, hands. And then if we do the same with the back, because they say you do lose a good inch in there, and when it's a double page spread, oh god, hands, I might have to get my husband to break the spine on this. But you can see the stitches. If it was glued I wouldn't do this, but it's not, it's stitched. So because it's stitched, I actually can put it back together again. It's quite easy to put back together. So each signature, if we look, let's hope. Oopsie. You can see the pages coming apart, look. It just would make it so much easier for me. So that is one signature here. And I've almost got that going now. It's just a bit of glue. Oh, I put a hole in that. And I really do hate destroying books, but actually, again, I'm going to be using the pastels. I want to get kind of as good at colouring as I can, as realistic as I can, so I really do need to be in that kind of zone. Now, the other thing I've got to remember, that in the middle of here we have some stitches. So if you squirmish, look away, because an unpicker is perfect for this. An unpicker is perfect. And I'm hoping they've been clever enough to put all the double pages in the centre. Again, always make sure that the blades, if it's going to slip, it's going away from you. So that seemed quite easy. And I've used a bit of glue as well, so got to be a little bit of, do a little bit of teasing if you don't want to. So let's have a look. So the elephant page now goes completely flat. And that's going to be so much easier for me to play with, because my hands will not pick up that silly big book. It's beautiful, but it won't do that. So that's actually really good, because I flattened that now. So my double page spread actually is going to look quite good. And then I can always get the girls to sew it. So that's a double page spread there. But using them in sections is going to be easier. So I'll take the next one off and see what that one looks like. Oh, hi Teresa, Crafting Chaos, and anybody else that's joining us, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm just destroying a beautiful book. And just destroying a beautiful book. But I decided that I really want to get some nice images, and I'm going to be struggling in here, I think. It's actually a little bit better now I've taken that out, but still. So I think we said there were 6. You find the signatures quite easily by. So that's the middle one. And again, you can see the stitches. So and I do hate destroying books, but it's just sometimes struggling with these pages. It's going to be more effort than actually sketching, colouring them in. So and an unpicker, which are about £1 from the sewing section in any haberdashery, is worth its weight in gold if you want to do this. Now these are glued as well, so I should have asked my husband to destroy this, bless him, but I think I'm going to be very naughty, see if I can pull the back off. A little bit of brute force. Oopsie. Sit. Once you can start it, I wanted to try and keep the cover so that I can put them back in. seems to be quite a lot of glue. So it was well made, but there is a lot of glue. So we're going to have to kind of, it's not going to come apart easily. So have a look for the next signature. This is now a destruction of a book. Sorry, it wasn't supposed to be. So if anybody's got any questions, pop them in caps. Otherwise, you're going to have to watch me destroying this beautiful colour book. But I'm doing it because, again, I wanted to get... I'll be able to do this in sections and it won't be difficult. Whereas moving this book about is going to be quite hard. So if you're very careful... So if the page is that way, you want to cut that way, and if the page is that way, you can cut this way. You just slide the knife underneath, and then you're not going to damage. You don't want to pull the string at all. So it's very well made, I have to say. Very well made. Got to be a little bit careful. So this is the front page, and again now I've got a really nice flat image. So you've got rid of that bump there, so you can get some really nice colours now right into there. I'm so sorry, Booknester. I know. I just thought I shan't be doing this live. I know. It was breaking my heart, but it's the difference between me using the book and not. If I was able-bodied, I wouldn't do this, but my hands are so bad. Forcing this book here and holding it, and that's going to drive me insane, and I can't hold things. So yeah, I know it's and I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't stitched. I just want to be able to get to the corners. I can't destroy other books. The only one I've ever done was a very old book, and I was upset about it, but that was part of my degree course. But I read the book first. It was a Victoria Holt novel, so it didn't feel so bad. And it was immortalised in Selby Library. I made butterflies flying out of the pages, all up the walls, all into the windows, from piles and piles of books, but I only destroyed one. So yeah, I find it really hard. I do find it really hard. So yeah, hold your breath. But it's a colour book. Oops, that was quite good. That came off quite nicely, that. As I say, it is quite well made. I thought I'd open them all. Must have missed a little tiny one. If I was strong enough, what you could do is just take this down here, get rid of all the glue, but if I did that I would probably might cut myself. But that's what you really need to do, is to get rid of that glue. But I don't think I'm strong enough, and whatever I do to my thumbs today, they will hate me tomorrow. So, although I won't be streaming tomorrow actually. Oh, I found another one of these. So apologies if you're having a dicky fit. Apologies. If you've got stronger hands, as I used to make books, but I just can't make books now. But yeah, and again, that wants to come off this one. It's just the glue. Normally you just cut. You can see the glue there. In fact, you could probably melt the damn thing. It's just I actually pulled the other page off, but a little bit of kind of, oh, you see it's popping off. There you go, it's popped off. You don't need a lot of brute force because it'll pop off. So that was number 12. It doesn't take long for it to kind of, I think it's just three pages, so you need to get to the middle. Oopsie. It's just easy if you take all these stitches out. But it means I could be able to work on them flat instead of struggling in the creases. And I was watching Dee Dee do it the other day, and I thought, oh yes, now I know why she destroys books, because just trying to paint in a crease is just so annoying. Yes, I thought about that, and I do actually have a heat gun, but the heat gun has never been out of its box. But I do have problems plugging things in, so again, that's a bit of a. In fact, if I'd have bought, I wanted to take it back to the shop, but I was too late, because otherwise, before Christmas I went and I bought a heat gun, and then I realised that it's a bit stupid because I can't really hold one. So, yeah, so if you're really careful, it pops out now. Once you get it going, it's popping out now. I just don't want to tear the pages, that's all. It's the stitches that are really holding it together. So that's the back. Am I doing the back and the forth? I don't know what I'm doing. No, 26. I think there's 6 pages. Yeah, there's 6 pages. But because I'm doing this, I'm going to use, I think this is just as sharp as mine. I'm going to put that back there. Use mine's a new blade, so cuts through string anything like butter. So I just thought I'd show, but again, if this knife is going to go anywhere, it's going over there. It's not coming anywhere near me. And it will be interesting to find out if I can actually do anything tomorrow. So again, it's actually quite crusty and hard. So crusty bits. So again, a bit of brute force and you'd be fine. I'm going to be in trouble tomorrow, but never mind. So I think it was, you see, if you follow it round, this is quite a good little bone folder, this one actually. If you just gently keep going, it'll just pop out because there's nothing holding it. And again, I'd like to just make these flat again because they've been sat. So there must be about 8 signatures in here, maybe more. Oh, hi Scooby, welcome to Bonnie's Designs. Are you all having a moment? Are you all having a drastic moment because I'm cutting a book up? They will sit nicer in the... Sorry, that was Alfie, who's under the seat. Actually been a good boy. And I hate doing this, but it's just purely so that I can get into the creases and get to the pages. So again, if you follow that very carefully, you've got your signature. And then very carefully take that to the edge. If I did the back at the same time, I would be able to pop it off, I think. Yeah, I've got a nice kind of edge thing going. I didn't want to destroy the corners, that's what I was trying not to do. So if I take one from the back page now, they're almost disintegrating anyway because it's actually coming apart. So oops, got to keep them in the right place, the right order, because they're not. So there's only 2 left now. As long as you make sure you get the signatures, because if you tear off a signature, it won't be the right place. Just tease that one out. got a better chance of taking this. Yeah, actually, I don't think it would have helped. I don't think it would have helped. So these are the last two signatures. Oh, I can't pull that out. These are the little knots. Look. So what we have now is a folder with signatures in. Oh, very much like DD makes, look. So we have a DD book. So all I've done is taken these out. So that means what I can do now, just put the blade onto there, and my thumb now knows. So that's what we're throwing away. So it means I can open this up. And I can take even just a signature out and I can work flat. So the first page, and I can put some blue masking tape that's not going to damage the page across there, and that's going to give me a lovely edge. Could be some little bit of glue on there, but it's almost flat, so that's going to be so much easier to work. Just had a thought, actually you could even take it a step further and you could work like this. That would be quite good. You could, no, you're not going out, Alfie. You could work like that. That would be quite good. And that's completely flat. Alfie, go back under there, darling. Good boy. Good. Whoopsie. Good boy. Right. So that I quite like that. That's okay. I can live with that. I can live with that. It's flat, and then I can put them back in the book. I can put this one back in the book, and I can put it back together. Because that's the back page. Oops, no, it's not the back page. That's 11. It's the idiot's test today and I failed that one. There we go. So we're back together again now. But it would be so much easier to work like that, even if you took the first 11 pages with you. It's quite thin. I wonder if that would go in my little book. It probably would. That would go in my, so I could do it in sections and work flat. So I can stitch it back together again once I've finished, because I haven't damaged the back spine. All I would do is actually I would stitch it through the spine and put it back together once I've sewn it. Once I've and if you do a Copic stitch, you can do it where it will lie flat. Because I've done that with a lot of sketchbooks, taking them apart and sew them back up again, so you can actually they actually sit next to each other, but they're flat. Because I like that. I've done one with about 800 pages, and it's flat. So sorry if I've upset. And again, you see, you can take that off and actually do that as a complete page. Was if you had that big dip in there, it would drive you potty. So I'm quite pleased with that, even though I don't normally destroy books. I quite like that. And luckily for me, they're all numbered. So was that okay, Booknest? You can look now. You can look now. Is that okay? But it's even like this, it's still easier to draw. It's still easier to, sorry, to colour in. It's still easier because now they all go flat. Especially if I use pastel, because it means I can actually use pastel and take them away, and then when I put them together they're not going to contaminate each other. Even though I've got an eraser, it's still a bit of a pest. So I'm quite pleased with that. So now I have to shut up and do a colour page now. I do a colour page now. So my phone should be in, oh it's not, it's nearly dead, so I might have to do that a little bit later. I might just finish my Colin Thompson one for a moment. I think this is the first page I'm going to do. Might as well start with number 1. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to take it away from its home. Take it out completely. And you only need like a headband, the big wide ones, and to keep them together. So I think I'm going to do that, but I am going to be working in pastels. So I'm just going to pop that one like this. Probably just going to try and give that a bit of a better crease, although it is sitting quite nicely. I'm just going to pop that like that, purely because I know that's my first page. Yes, yes, yes. It's going to be quite a good little book. Is that? It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And as I say, even lifting this up is a bit difficult. So now I know I can go in there, I can take a piece out and I can work on this, because these are going to take a few hours. They're not going to be quick ones. I'm going to try and work on them so that they're going to look. I don't like this in the middle. I'm going to try and do something with this. But yeah, unless I make a feature of that, I suppose. But it doesn't make any difference. It's going to be my colour page. And then when they're done, they can go in back in order, and they can go back into the. I will put a belly band on, like you can get some. They're like hair bands, but they're bigger to go over your head. I don't think I've got one, have I? Don't know what that. No, that's too small. I can't do that. The other ones are a little bit more elasticated. So, thanks for stopping by, guys, and watching me destroy that. So that's the end of my Ultimate Travelist colour book, Destruction. Thanks for watching.